Hey, what's going on, guys? Fizz here once again. So this is going to be a new build diary entry for a new character, Physics Bubble Beam MTX. This is Darky's super meta at this point, Toxic Rain champion. Finally got around to playing it. I didn't really have plans originally to play it, but I've dropped an ungodly amount of gear for this build, to the point where I feel like Chris Wilson is personally telling me to try the build out. So that's what we're doing. Another large contributor that convinced me to play it is the brand new Bubble Beam MTX for the Toxic Rain skill. I tend to really gravitate towards like water and ice themed both abilities and like skill themes with MTXs in the game. In most games, it's just like my favorite elemental archetype. So anything that kind of resembles that or can like change like the flavor of a skill towards that like direction, I'm usually super on board with it. Great way to steal my money. Anywho, so I'm gonna throw in a map here. Character is like just fiddling around anywhere from like tier 5s to tier 10s right now. I'm just basically farming harvest ad nauseum because you need just 7,000 on the low end chaos recrafts for this build, because everything needs a chaos recraft. You need a bunch of influence bases as well. So character's about to hit level 85. The damage isn't anything insane right now. I did, funnily enough, from a ritual, which was the final straw that convinced me to play the build, actually. I got a 8 passive chaos cluster jewel, which is like what you need for this build. It's also the lowest amount of passives a large cluster can have, I believe. So that's like, I got the best possible thing, and I just got it for free from a ritual. So I was like, okay, we'll play the build. So basically, it's just it's Toxic Rain chumping, and then you also use a bunch of ballistas with focus fire support or whatever the hell it's called. Now, disclaimer: if you don't know, this is Darky's build, who is like a prolific racer, right? He's one of the most decorated racers in recent PoE history. He, I think, has the most gauntlet titles under his belt over everybody else. He's one of the best players in the game when it comes to just making builds and theory crafting. He's just all around very, very good player. So this is not my build. I am literally just copying his POB. It was also featured on Zizarin's channel, by the way. So you may have already seen it over there if you keep up with Zizarin's content. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post my current POB like I do with every character in the diary update if you want to like follow along with where my current progression is down below. And then I will also post Darky's POB. And he has like kind of like my Earthshatter guide. It's not quite as in-depth, but he has like good notes on how to craft like some of the endgame gear. And then he has like, you know, kind of like different leveling trees and stuff. So if you want to like follow along or maybe try the build yourself, feel free. So this build is probably the tankiest build in the game right now, at least in HCSSF constraints. It is absolutely ridiculous. You get Grace, you get Determination, you get max spell suppression, you get Fortify. Like, there was this clip of I'm Exile a few days ago because he's already playing in a Gauntlet practice league because he plays like a week of the league and then just plays Gauntlet the rest of the league. He was tanking, he was like testing spell suppression on Awakener 8 Cirrus and Gauntlet, and he ate 2 die beams to the face and didn't die in A8 Gauntlet. This build is even tankier than that, which is absolutely insane. You're also utilizing Ghost Shrouds with max life as ES. So like overall, this build is ridiculous. Last night, I farmed a lot of it Ziri. Yesterday was basically this character's first day of existence. I leveled the character 2 maps off stream over the course of like literally 16 hours one day. I skipped stream. I was trying to fix my sleep schedule. I wasn't wholly successful, but I was trying to fix my sleep schedule, so I like casually like leveled him, went AFK for a few hours, came back, ran like another act or 2, AFK'd for a few hours, and I didn't want to like commit to a stream because I was like super shit-faced and tired. So that's how he got leveled. But yesterday was like the first day of like actual like doing anything on this character. This character does require, because it is a Darky build. Darky loves to like min-max his theory crafting. So it can be played on a budget, but it is very much like a very gear intensive build if you want to like min-max. I love doing Darky builds because he generally is such a good mind for like build crafting and theory crafting things. With like SSF in mind as well. So you get to like have a very nice like long-term character progression with lots of endgame goals to strive for. So basically right now the damage isn't anything crazy. Up until level 88, I'm scaling basically pure defenses. After 88, I'm going to go into my cluster jewel setup, which means in the next few levels, I really need to get my cluster jewel crafted up. So what am I running here? Basically tree, you're all on the right side of the tree. I'm not going to go over like a bunch of specifics in terms of the leveling. You swap, I think Darky had like swapping to Toxic Rain at level 33 in his POB. I swapped at like level 25 or something, and it was fine. I didn't really have any trouble. But picking up lots of life, a few damage over time bow nodes, mana reservation nodes, life nodes, spell suppression nodes. This is what I'm working on right now. I already have 100% chance to spell suppress. I have almost perfect Aziri steps. 25 out of a possible 26% chance to suppress spell damage with a max life roll. And then as you can see, the perfection on the evasion rating at the very top of the item is 270 out of a possible 283 max roll. So they're almost perfect boots. Very cool there. Oh, nice. Okay. So, yeah, other than that, the passive tree, first and foremost, you like some small pointers. You don't really want to grab Ghost Dance until you have like Life is ES and you're ready to drop Blood Rage, because Blood Rage will degen you. Frenzy Charges are actually crazy good for this build because attack speed is like a very, very strong scaler for damage on Toxic Rain. And then also you know, just more like Frenzy Charges give you more damage, like a more multiplier on your damage. So they're very, very nice for the build. Endgame Darky has a Redeemer chest piece for Frenzy Charge on hit in his build. I do not have a Redeemer chest piece yet. Real quick, before I get into the gear, I want to show you some of the stuff that I have. So this is a cluster jewel I was talking about. 12% increased chaos damage with 8 passive skills. It's item level 71. Technically, for the easiest time rolling it, you want it below item level 67, I think, but it's not too high. So there are still some mods I can't get on this, so it's not terrible. It's just a little bit harder to roll than it otherwise could be. This is the Hunter Bow. So again, something I already had, an eye level 83 Hunter Bow. So it's the right item level. And this will cost like around 8 to 9 exalts to fully craft according to Darky's POB. He has like a very specific near deterministic way to craft the bow for like +3 with chaos dot multi and damage over time multiplier. Basically right now just farming exalts to get that. I also already had a Hunter influenced Onyx amulet, which is super good. It's also what he has as like the best in slot amulet for the build. Now it is only item level 70, so it's not like perfect, but it is still quite good. I can get all like the stats I need. They won't be tier 1, but I can get the good stats on it. Other than that, other things, I do have these Hunter infused gloves, which you want for the chaos dot multi you see there. And they actually rolled some decent life as well. The problem with these is they have no resists on them, so I will need to recraft them. They also aren't evasion hybrid based. So like preferably on this build, you want to be running like mostly armor evasion hybrids. And if you have to have only one, evasion is best. The reason being, it allows you to take advantage of the 10% chance to suppress spell damage if your boots, helmet, and gloves have evasion. And you like spell suppression is something you would like to be overcapped on. My current spell suppression I think is around 110%. The reason being you will roll map mods that have less chance to suppress spell damage. So you don't want to just get to 100%. Think of it as like being LE weakness capped. It definitely helps. So yeah, other than that, this is a passive tree. It'll all be down below. Big scalars for the build being like attack speed, obviously damage over time multiplier, both in the form of like chaos damage and just generic damage over time. Chaos damage in general. attack speed, if I didn't already talk about that. And then there are specific breakpoints after they changed the way Toxic Rain worked with AoE and stuff. There's specific breakpoints you want to hit when it comes to increased area of effect for Toxic Rain to get the optimal amount of overlap. This also changes depending on how many arrows you have. Toxic Rain by default has 5 arrows. So if you get it to 6, the breakpoints for AoE change. There's a bunch of stuff on that if you want to look that up somewhere. But basically for this guide, meaning Darkies, he's going for 5 arrows with 39% increased AoE. 39% increased AoE. For the max amount of overlap. So he gets 20% from the bow mastery, 20% increased AoE. And then you get 10% from a max quality Toxic Rain. Ooh, it's about to hit level 26. And then you get 9% crafted onto your amulet or your gloves. I think you can, there might be one other slot you can craft AoE on, but I don't remember. Other than that, you don't really run Grace in the build until you get a helmet like I have here, 8% increased mana reservation efficiency of skills. You can get this with either a Redeemer helmet or using essences. So right here, loathing essences. However, you need, I believe it's shrieking. Yeah, you need at least shrieking loathings if you want to use essences to craft it. Obviously, I don't have a Veritania helmet that was armor or evasion based. I only have like armor ES bases on my Veritania helmets. So I just went ahead and farmed Haywark, got some loathings, threw this on. It's basically like not a whole lot. I have some life regen, which is nice. I got the mana reservation, which is what I need the most. And then it's just got a shit ton of life on it. Like that's, it's got hybrid life armor. So it's 100 life straight up between the benchcraft and the hybrid roll. And then also 35 to strength is an additional like 16, 18 life or so. 18 or 19 life. So yeah, that's a ton of life on the helmet. 115-ish life overall on the helmet. One thing to note as well before I get into the gear are the flasks. Basically, Enduring Mana Flask is mandatory for this build. I don't really know how bossing is going to go for this. It was really awkward fighting at Ziri when I ran out of Enduring Flash charges. I don't know if you just have to like pour it out or what. Because basically, you'll notice my Toxic Rain costs 20 mana to cast. And I only have like 47 mana. Keep in mind that I also need to keep uptime on turrets that stay out for like 8 seconds, I think. Yeah, they last for 8 seconds, but they also die in like 1 or 2 hits. And as you can see there, I can only summon one bout of them. You have to hit it 3 times to get all 5. I can only summon 1 bout of them per like mana that I have before I have to wait for it to regen. So basically you need like 100% uptime on the Enduring to be able to do all of this. To throw those down, use Toxic Rain, you know, to its full capacity, and then Withering Step for your damage increase, and then still having mana for your Flame Dash. Like, yeah, it's very, very, very tight on mana. What I may end up doing is getting a few like, where is it? There's a node on the tree that gives you, right here. This gives mana flash charges. I may end up taking this. Simply because it feels like it's going to be really, really bad for bossing. I think I also might roll a second Enduring Flask and like replace that with the Onslaught Flask for bossing as well, to try to solve some of the mana issues. Because right now it feels really like, it feels great, and then you run out of flash charges and then you just feel like an asshole. Like it feels really gross. But yeah, let's get into the gear. So what am I rocking right now? First and foremost, I'm going to say that you want to, again, this is Darky's thing. This is his tech. Run it as Sinvicta's in a weapon swap. So Sinvicta's is nothing special. It's just an item that gives you Rampage. So what you can do when you first walk into the map or anytime it falls off is the first pack, you know, you'll throw down your Toxic Rain, and it's a damage over time ability. So you basically just Toxic Rain, swap to the axe, something dies, swap back instantly. It's super safe. It's really easy. It might look a little clunky, but it's actually not at all, really. It's super smooth. And worth noting that you don't need to kill a bunch of mobs to proc Rampage. If you don't know, Rampage actually starts counting at 1 kill. You just have to get, I believe, like 15 or 25 to actually proc the counter and thus get the first buff. But it actually starts counting at 1 kill. So if there's only 1 mob here, you can Toxic Rain it, swap to the axe, the mob dies, you swap back. You only need to kill 1 mob to get the rampage starting. You don't have to kill like a whole pack or anything. So that out of the way, let's get into it. I'll start with the Aziri steps. Basically, I farmed these up yesterday. I think it took 7 or 6, somewhere between like 6 to 8 Aziris to get the steps. I got 2 rings, 2 flasks, and other stuff. Maybe I got more flasks, I don't remember. But this was the first pair that I got, the only pair that I got. Excuse me. Moving on from that, belt's just whatever. It's a lot of life. It's resist. Really struggling right now with resist on the build, due to a few things. The helmet being like a major one. My helmet has no resist on it at all, as you could see. So resist right now for me are very, very hard to balance. So like a lot of pieces are going to be a little weird. It's just, you know, it's early game. Resists are going to be hard for a little bit. In my glove slot, I am using Apothecaries. This is not the best, but it's damage over time in the glove slot, and I was just using this because I didn't have any like good hybrid armor evasion bases rolled. As you saw earlier when I opened my stash, I did have a few gloves that I picked up off the ground to start crafting. But what I think I'm going to do, especially since I'm already pretty well over the spell suppress cap, I think I'm going to actually use the hunter gloves. I just need to recraft them to have... Basically, they have the Chaos Stop multi in the life. I just need to recraft them so they have that plus plus some resist. And if I got really lucky, an open suffix, so I can put the shock chill craft on there as well to become shock immune pseudo. But yeah, they're just, I bench crafted life. They have some resist on them. It's whatever. Some damage over time. Generic. The ring slot, I'm using just a 2-stone with like tier 2, tier 3, tier 2 life. It's got some mana regen. It's got some life regen, which is very nice. Life regen is actually very good this patch. If you don't know, it's not a meme stat anymore. It's actually quite strong. So if you get that on gear, don't sigh. It's actually quite good. The mana regen is nice for obvious reasons. And then I have a hybrid lightning chaos roll. The other ring slot, some attributes, which is nice. The build is pretty tight on strength, especially using a Sinvictus, has a very high strength requirement. 48 life, 20 cold res, 45 lightning res, and then an Elrion benchcraft to help again with mana costs, as mana is a very, very tight thing on this build, very hard to get right. In the amulet slot, I'm using an amulet with tier 2 life, a little bit of resist, and crafted on resist. Yeah, and then I have Farsight anointed on. It's a pretty cheap anoint. I think it's like green, red. Yeah, so verdant, crimson. It's basically just damage, attack speed. You love that. 24% increased damage over time and 6% attack speed. The other ones don't matter. The helmet, you guys have already seen this. Next up is a chest piece. Basically, I just rolled a chest piece that had like high resist. I was really low on essences, and I wanted the hybrid roll on it. I have some like really nice chest pieces, but they're not armor evasion hybrids, so this is what I worked out. This is definitely could be way better, but like honestly, champion is just... Can you guys hear that? My cat is going handbuck wild. Okay, sorry. Anyway, I'm not like super like in a rush to replace this because realistically this build is like so insanely tanky. I can just wait until I get a Veritine, you know, chest piece and then craft that up. I do have a few other like chest pieces I could use, but again, it's like whatever. I care most about resist right now. Especially my chaos resists are still in the negative. It's still quite bad. So in the quiver slot, my quiver is pretty trash. It's just some life, some fire res, and a lot of chaos res, which is the only reason I'm using this. Preferably, and again, the implicit doesn't matter. Arrows pierce an additional target. There's no good quiver for this build. None of the implicit quivers matter at all. Like none of the implicits matter whatsoever. So just whatever quiver you get, feel free to use it. Ideally, what you want on the quiver is like life and then damage over time multiplier. All quivers in the game can roll damage over time multiplier. They don't have to be influenced. Now, preferably later on, you get a Hunter influence quiver, and then you can roll Chaos Dot multi on there as well. So that's like the end game thing, but honestly, quiver is not a huge deal. Just get like tier 1 life, and then damage over time multiplier, generic damage over time multiplier, and then, you know, resist, whatever you need, fill in attributes maybe if you want that. So this quiver is quite bad. It's just I really needed chaos res. And then lastly, the weapon. So I am using a +3 bow that is 5 linked with the right colors, and it's a thicket bow. Thicket bow is really good because it has like the highest attacks per second out of the bow bases. And it's basically like any, it's not necessarily just thicket bow. It's this like bow like type. You know how there's like Karui choppers and Jade choppers? It's all the same base type. They're basically just different tiers based on like the item level of the weapon. This is like, because there's like thicket bow and short bow and grove bow. All of those are technically thicket bows. Yeah, we don't care at all about the physical damage. Ideally, you would actually get a harvest craft for weapon quality giving attack speed. That would be like the optimal thing, but the weapon obviously is corrupted. I can't do that. I did just pick this up off the ground with +3 on it, so that's really cool. This is going to be the bow that I probably use until I end up crafting my hunter bow, which I think right now I have 5x. I definitely was memeing around a lot with my exalts this league. I think I've gotten 13 or 14 raw exalt drops, but I just kind of like was throwing them on whatever, especially like doing like fizz weapon crafts with the maces and stuff. Doing the bench craft on that is 1x per mace that I make basically, and I've done 5 of those. So I mean, I've been throwing my exalts around pretty frivolously this league because I didn't plan on doing like a super mega craft heavy build with meta mods and stuff, but this build meta mod crafts a lot if you want to min max it. So yeah, that's all the gear. You guys have seen the passive tree. So I'll get into my like closing thoughts, first impressions of the build. Insanely tanky. Actually, we can go through the jewel or the gems real quick, can't we? So in my boots, I'm using Withering Step, and these are actually not optimal links. I just ran out of chromes because I'm poor. But Withering Step with Defiance Banner, Flame Dash, and increased duration. Now, ideally, I would have my Withering Step, Flame Dash, and I also want to fit in a Smoke Mine as well. I would have all of those linked to Life Tap, and then maybe even like take the Flame Dash out and then like being able to keep the increased duration, because increased duration on Withering Step feels really, really nice. It's like a very noticeable difference in uptime when you pop it. So that's the gem links in the boots. Again, not super optimal. The gloves are like whatever. It's just my cast when damage taken setup for Molten Shell. Again, I would prefer to have another increased duration here for the Molten Shell. It's just, again, I ran out of chromes. So yeah, this is what I'm running. The blue is just me leveling up my Enlighten. Yeah, nothing special there. Just leveling up the Enlighten. This is going to be end game. I will throw that in with the Grace and the Determination and everything to help with mana. So next we'll get into the chest piece. This is where I have my Ballista Totem set up. So this is Ballista Totems with Toxic Rain, Withering Touch support, Focus Ballista support, and multiple totem support. Early on, this felt kind of weird because I told you I swapped to Toxic Rain at 25, and I started using this setup on bosses as a single target immediately. Once you get Focus Ballista support, because this is like your 5th link, once you swap to a 5 link from 4 link and you get Focus Ballista, it feels amazing. It's honestly super nice. It was a massive damage increase. It surprised me a lot. I wasn't expecting it. The only annoying thing about the totems is, again, they die so fast. And I have, mind you, I have done Uber Lab as well. So I do have the Conqueror with the taunt and everything as well. I can't imagine before the hotfix that was like totems were too squishy or whatever. I can't imagine how fast they fell over, because like right now I throw them up on a boss and then they just instantly disappear. So yeah, hopefully that changes at some point. Next up, in the helmet, I'm running Malevolence, Determination, Despair, and Grace. These are just all the auras, and then my curse. Another thing I forgot to show you guys, I'll show you after, but I have 2 Hunter Influence rings that I'm crafting, currently attempting to craft Despair on Hit on. once I get Despair on hit, it will be a massive damage increase for the boost, and it will, for the build rather, and it will feel a lot better to not have to manually cast Despair on every tanky mob. So really excited for that. And the bow, the final setup, we are running Efficacy with Toxic Rain, faster attacks, Void Manipulation, and Mirage Archer. I'm not in a super big rush to get a 6-link. One, because I already have a +3 bow, which is really nice. And two, because really you want Empower, which is a little Monka-esque. I think I'm going to be heisting on this character for the foreseeable future, because I feel like that's probably the best chance I'm going to get of seeing an Empower. I've not seen an Empower at all since they did like the whatever they called it, the like empowered gyms or the heightened gyms or whatever they're called, where like Enlighten and Empower and all that stuff got really rare. I've dropped one Enlighten and one I can't remember the green one, the faster XP gain one. I've dropped one Enlighten and one of those each league since the change, but I've not seen a single Empower. So Monka S, I'm scared. Hopefully I get it. Though I could throw in, I believe I could use damaged on full life support instead. And again, you run Ghost Shrouds with this build. I do have regen, stuff like that. So I'm actually, like, throughout most of the mapping process, if there's not like a degen puddle on the ground, I am basically full life all the time. You're also not using Blood Rage, so you don't have to worry about just like natural degens that are constantly up. So I could use that, and it would probably be a good damage boost as well if I don't end up getting the Empower. But right now, I'm not in a super big rush to try to get a 6-link. I want to sort out a bunch of other stuff with the gear first. Yeah, so that's all the links. That's all the plans with that. That's the passive tree. If you're wondering what I went for first, it kind of felt like leveling a Scion. You're just kind of sad early until you get to Cruel Lab. So I got to Cruel Lab, and then I did normal and Cruel back to back for Unstoppable Hero into Fortitude, so you get the permanent Fortify. Unstoppable Hero does literally nothing for you if you don't have Fortify, and you're playing a ranged build, so you won't have Fortify until you get your second lab done. After that, into Inspirational for Banner Skills Have No Reservation, and then increased effective non-cursed auras from your skills. That means your Grace, your Malevolence, and your Determination are even stronger, which is nuts. As well as being able to fit Defiance Banner in the build for free. And then Conquer last, the Taunt, again, less damage taken. The build is absolutely ridiculously tanky, and I've seen a lot of people say, or like some people have concerns rather, that like the build's like ZDPS or whatever. This build does not ZDPS whatsoever. It actually feels very, very akin to like ED Contagion, though it can be like a little bit smoother because you run super fast through maps, right? You run super fast through maps, and then you just throw down like a Toxic Rain as you go. And the initial, like starting out, the base duration of Toxic Rain is quite short, but again, as I covered earlier, scaling duration is a really, really good way to increase the damage on this skill, because you can have like an unlimited amount of dots on the boss, basically, right? So the more duration you get, the more damage you'll be able to stack up. So right now it's all the way up to 2.5 seconds. This will get quite a bit higher. I think a little bit past 3 seconds by the time I'm done with it. So like you don't really have to stop ever, right? You'll just throw down the Toxic Rain and just keep running, throw down Toxic Rain, and you'll also have Mirage Archer shooting stuff out as well. And you scale so much attack speed with the build that it's not like he's shooting out slowly. He's shooting out super fast as well. So you just kind of like shoot and then you run, and then everything's just dying, dotted all over the place. You have Rampage, you're mega zooming. Like it feels really comfy. Honestly, it feels really comfy to map on. I feel like I can't die. Famous last words, right? But I feel like I can't die, and the DPS is pretty good, because like right now, again, if you look at the tree, I haven't really taken much damage at all. There's 3 passives here, right? And there's the passives here. The mastery is just for phasing, right? And extra move speed. And that's it. That's it. Everything else, all of these nodes are basically extra survivability outside of this node. This node is amazing. But yeah, so once I hit 88, or soon, whenever I get my cluster jewel finished, I'm going to throw it up in this socket, and then I'm going to start filling all of that out with a 3 notable. I have hit a 3 notable at this point, but I didn't get the one of the notables that gives you hinder, and I didn't want to use it because like Toxic Rain already slows things, right? So if you get that plus the hinder, it's basically like mega cracked out temp chains for free. Nothing can move ever. And again, more damage and, you know, skill effect duration and stuff like that I was talking about earlier. So I have a ton of work to do with the build, but I'm excited. It's actually been a lot more fun to play than I originally anticipated it to be. Again, I only really started playing it because I had a bunch of gear for it and mostly because of this MTX. But I've been enjoying it quite a lot. Maybe I'll enjoy it to the point where I buy this MTX twice so I can also have it on my ballistas. We'll see. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for this one. This is about to be the start of day 2 for the character over on Twitch. So directly after this video goes up, I will be live on Twitch if you want to come hang out, talk about the build in person, or if you have any questions about previous builds. But yeah, that's going to be the end of the video, guys. If you like the video, thumbs up. If you don't like it, thumbs down. Tell me what I can do better. And if you like me, maybe consider subbing. And that's going to be it for this one, guys. I will see you in the next video tomorrow. Have a good one.